Hello everyone, my name is Ishan Jolly. I am a Twitch streamer and voice actor, and welcome to this microphone comparison between the AKG C414 XLII microphone and the Neumann U87 Ai. So, let's go. First off, I will just do a monologue, a bunch of monologues, and then an audiobook read, and then I will rap and I will sing. I'm not the best rapper or singer, but I will demonstrate it for the purpose of the video, so don't judge me. Okay, let's go. Once more unto the breach, dear friends, once more. Oh, close the wall up with our English dead in peace. There is nothing so becomes a man as modest stillness and humility. But when the blast of war blows in our ears, and imitate the action of the tiger, stiffen the sinews, summon up the blood, disguise fair nature with hard favoured rage. Then lend the eye a terrible aspect, let pry through the portage of the head, let the brass cannon at the brow overwhelm it as fearfully as doth a gorged rock. O'er hang and shut his confounded base, swilled with the wild and wasteful ocean. Now set the teeth and stretch the nostril wide, hold hard the breath and bend up every spirit to its full height. On, you noblest English whose blood is fetched from fathers of war proof. Fathers, that like so many Alexanders have in these parts from morn till even fought, and sheathed their swords for lack of argument. Dishonour not your mothers now attest, that those whom you call fathers did beget you. Be copy now to men of grosser blood, and teach them how to war. And you, good human, whose limbs were made in England, show us here the metal of your pasture. Let us swear that you are worth your breeding, which I doubt not, for there are none of you so mean and base that hath not noble lust in your eyes. I see you stand like greyhounds in the slip, straining upon the start, the game's afoot. Follow your spirit, and upon this charge cry, God for Harry, England, and St. George. And now an audiobook style thing. It was the year 1975 when Charlotte von Sledven, a 19-year-old student of the Swedish royal family, travelled to India to get a portrait made by a gifted artist. The artist was born into a poor Indian family of the lowest caste, also known as the Untouchables. Despite the incredibly difficult circumstances, the artist, named Pradyumna Kumar Maharandya, had gained an outstanding reputation for being a gifted painter. His reputation led Charlotte to travel all the way to India to get her portrait done. By the time the portrait was finished, the two had fallen in love. Pradyumna was fascinated with Charlotte's beauty. Never before had he seen a more beautiful woman in the Western world. He gave his best to capture all her beauty in a portrait, yet never fully succeeded. Nonetheless, the portrait was magnificent, and Charlotte fell for his simplicity and beautiful character. Because of him, she spontaneously decided to stay longer in India. A couple of days became weeks, and then even months. The two had fallen so deeply in love that they decided to get married according to traditional Indian rituals. Unfortunately, the time came when Charlotte had to leave again in order to complete her studies in London. Thousands of miles separated the two, but their feelings for each other never changed. They stayed in contact through letters, which they exchanged almost weekly. Naturally, the newlyweds struggled terribly with the great distance between them. Charlotte offered to buy her husband air tickets, which he refused. He had not only decided to complete his studies first, but he had also set his mind on reuniting with the love of his life on his own terms. He even made her the promise that he would do anything he could to see her again. After Pradyumna had finished his studies, he took all his possessions and sold them. Unfortunately, the money he earned didn't even come close to a flight ticket. All he could afford was a cheap and used bicycle. Many would have been greatly disappointed. Some would have even given up, but not Pradyumna. Instead of allowing the difficult circumstances to stop him from seeing his beloved wife again, he decided to use what he had in order to see her again. Nothing could stop him from reuniting with her, even if they meant an exhausting bicycle ride halfway across the world. His decision was the beginning of a bicycle journey from India to the Western world. Pradyumna took all his paintings and brushes along with him to financially support his endeavour. His voyage led him through 8 countries and took more than 4 months. But eventually he arrived at Charlotte's hometown in Sweden and finally saw her again. From then on, the two never left each other's side for too long. So that's the audiobook style read, and now let's do some rapping. My shot, Hamilton, let's go. I am not throwing away my shot. I am not throwing away my shot. Hey yo, I'm just like my country. I'm young, scrappy, and hungry, and I'm not throwing away my shot. I'ma get a scholarship to King's College. I probably shouldn't brag, but dang, it's amazing and staunch. The problem is I got a lot of brains with no punch. I gotta holler just to be heard with every word. I drop knowledge, I'm a diamond in the rough. A shiny piece of coal, trying to reach my goal. My proud speech unimpeachable. Only 19, but my mind is older. These New York City streets get colder. I shoulder every burden, every disadvantage I've learned to manage. I don't have a gun to branch. I walk the streets famished. The planet is fan and spark into a flame. But damn, it's getting dark, so let me spell out the name. I'm the ALEXANDER. We are meant to be a colony that runs independently. And now some singing tests. I've just taken some songs from Game of Thrones. quality. High in the halls of the kings who are gone, Jenny would dance with her ghosts, the ones she had lost and the ones she had found, and the ones who had loved her the most. The ones who'd been gone for so very long, she couldn't remember their names. They spun her around on the damp old stones, spun away all her sorrow and pain, and she never wanted to leave, never wanted to leave, never wanted to leave, never wanted to leave. And who are you? The proud Lord said, that I must bow so low. Only a cat of a different coat, that's all the truth I know. In a coat of gold, a coat of red, a lion still has claws, and mine are long and sharp as yours, as long and sharp as yours. And so he spoke, that Lord of Castamere. But now the rains weep o'er his halls, with no one there to hear. Yes, now the rains weep o'er his halls, and not a soul to hear. He rode through the streets of the city, down from his hill on high. Oh, the winds and the steps and the cobble, he rode to a woman's sigh. For she was a secret treasure, she was his shame and his bliss. And a chain and a keep are nothing compared to a woman's kiss. For hands of gold are always cold, but a woman's hands are warm. For hands of gold are always cold, but a woman's hands are warm. So, there we go. That is the microphone comparison between these two mics. The AKG C414 XLII cardioid mode with no switches engaged, and the Neumann U87 Ai cardioid mode with no switches engaged. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please do follow me over at twitch.tv/JoeyLegend, as seeing my follow count rise will really take my mind off the fact that I just spent $2,000 on a microphone. Thank you guys so much for watching. See you all later, and goodbye.